Fat man looking in a blade of steel, thin man looking at his last meal, hollow man looking in a cotton field for dignity.
Another thing that you do, like you had mentioned a little bit, being a teacher, professor of art, how is that sort of, I like to say, hinder or helped in you as being an artist? Because sometimes that takes up a lot of time.
It is, yeah, and it's I think if you do what you teach and you like what you do, it's fun. It's different kind of fun. I mean, there's always the hassle of, and every teacher will tell you this, but they hate doing grades. I mean, there's that kind of,
especially an art teacher.
Yeah, I mean, it's but I think that for me, it's kind of the chance to infuse a little bit of excitement into a group of people, about what you do, and try to get, see excitement there, see energy there. I also have to be completely honest in that my own research has been really helped and has been promoted by being a professor at MTSU. I mean, I've had access to experiences, and this summer I spent some time in Maine at an artist residency at this place called Watershed, where I made this piece, and MTSU sent me there. I mean, I was invited to go be a part of this experience, and I really, the family budget probably could have sustained it, but it was getting tight, and then I applied for a grant through MTSU, and they were impressed by my invitation, and I've spent very little out of pocket to go have this really wonderful experience that's changed the way I'm thinking about my work now.
Yeah.
So it does take time away, but it makes you part of a bigger team. Again, it's like instead of being on your own, you're really not on your own. And I've got a team at home. I've also got this team in Murfreesboro that is other faculty members in the art department,
and they're
and
invested in you,
and administrators and deans who think. I mean, I've got a dean who thinks what I do is worth funding, and that's awesome. And that's a really good feeling to know that the institution I work for promotes and helps me get my creative work.
What is it that got you to move to Nashville? What brought you here? And since you've been here, what is it about the scene that you've really been inspired by and just enjoyed?
Our initial move to Nashville was a briefly held teaching position that my wife had. She came up from Florida. We were not married yet at the time. I was teaching at the University of West Florida in Pensacola, and she made it known to me that she thought I was cool, and but she was leaving.
That's good.
And yeah, that was a nice thing. And so then later we got married because she thought I thought she.
I'm
was
gonna ask
cool
my
too.
wife.
Do you think I'm cool? I mean, I know you love me, but am I cool? That's different.
Really, no, not at all.
She was invited to come teach art at a high school just north of Nashville, up in Hendersonville, and she let me know that she was coming here, and she thought it'd be great if I followed, and if we remained a team. We came up, and it was rough at first. I mean, there was a lot of multi-job juggling, trying to get by, and to not really know the community before we got here.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of once I found the galleries, and once I found other artists, there was a tremendous amount of support. I spent a lot of time early in our first couple of years in Nashville doing art installation and stuff. I worked at Cumberland Gallery over behind Green Hills Mall as an installation person. I worked a couple of days a week there, just hanging work and packaging work to ship. And Carol Stein and Janice Pollard at the Cumberland Gallery were super supportive, and I learned a ton from them. I'd never worked in a gallery before. Just to see the mechanics of it and see how quickly you could take a show down and put a show up. I mean, really, it was. I learned a lot there. And then I went to work at the airport, the Arts in the Airport program, which is an amazing. We have an amazing art in the airport program. Caroline Carlisle has helped to put some really great shows up out there, some really world-class arts. People go flying to Nashville to get off the plane like, what is this? And it's Music City. It's not Art City. What's all this art doing around here?
Definitely,
So it's there's this very supportive network here. But what got us here was this job that my wife had, which she quickly abandoned. But then I think what kept us here was this, and it's not a big art community. I mean, sometimes it's a struggling art community. Sometimes it's a kind of just getting by art community. But it's a super supportive art community. And Lane York, again at Zeitgeist, he helped me get some of my first jobs out at the airport, and then also at the Friss. I did installation at the Friss for a while.
Yeah.
And so everybody kind of knows everybody, but what's nice about it is everybody knows who's available to work, and you'll get calls or you'll get an email just saying, you know, we need an installation crew at the airport these 2 weeks, and we know you're working in a frame shop and teaching as an adjunct, trying to get by, and here's an extra, you know, little bit of cash for a couple of weeks. So it's a very supportive community, and it's very reminiscent to me of the art community I encountered in New Orleans, where everybody knows each other and they know what they do. And so when somebody asks for a certain thing, they say, I don't do that, but I know who does, and here they are.
And they get you right there.
Yeah, and it's so there's been a tremendous amount of support just in the art community. You know, that's how I found this room to work in. You know, I mean, that's how I found this studio. That's how I got into Zeitgeist. I mean, it was just this group of artists kind of comes together and helps each other.
I guess my last question then, before we bring this to an end, which I think it's been a wonderful interview. I've really enjoyed talking with you, John. What are your ambitions for the future in regards to your work? Like, what do you have things that and it may involve like with your teaching as well. Like, are there things that like sort of in the right in front that you see coming that you want to grow, or are there things that, like, you have big ambitions down the road?
It's a real, I don't know, it's not a very inspiring thing to say, but right now I'm just feeling like just more of the same.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, things have been going really well, and I think it's come from a persistence. And I mean, there were so many times where my wife and I looked at each other and said, "What are we doing here?" I mean, we had our hand over the eject button so many times, and a lot of things have, we're starting to see, okay, this is kind of what we hung in there for. And I mean, I just found out at the end of this summer, after the residency in Maine, I found out that I had received the Individual Artist Fellowship from the Tennessee Arts Commission, which was really, that was a great thing to learn. I mean, I've been applying for that for years, 6 odd years, and that's really, it's, I mean, you believe what you do is good, otherwise you wouldn't be doing it. But then every once in a while, it's just nice for the community to kind of say, "Hey, you're right, it is good." And so to get that and come off, the inertia, the momentum from like an artist residency, and then have that happen, I always keep a show on the calendar. So like next summer, I've got a solo show at the gallery in New Orleans, Lemieux Galleries in New Orleans, who I've shown with for several years. Next summer I've got a solo show there, so that's kind of my immediate target, is just making more of this to have that experience. And I mean, things have been, it feels like a corner has kind of been turned as far as the struggle seems a little less. Things are happening a little more easily.
Yeah.
It's like,
Where's the wood? Where's the wood?
More of the same. I think an immediate kind of goal is just trying to roll things together in one package and enjoy it all, because they all feed each other, and you can't really do one without the other. All those different things you do in your life, they have to be simultaneous, because with if you think about it, you gain experiences, you gain glimpses into things that are new to you because you do these other things. You can't go in a garage and lock yourself in the garage and just make art, because art is about experiences. It's about you filtering experiences. If you don't go out and have experiences, your art's going to just be this kind of, it's going to be devoid of any content. It's going to be boring. It's going to be completely uninspired. So for me, short term and long term is just kind of more of what's been happening, because it's been it's been a really good year, and that's kind of where I'm headed. It's my goal. Anyway.
That's the goal.
We'll see what happens.
Well, on that note, we're gonna say thanks to everybody. I want to thank John.
you.
You got it.
Absolutely.
You'll be able to check out more information about John, including images of his work, on the blog. So definitely look through that. And thanks again, John. And Nashville Art Makers is glad to have you. And thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
I'm at the edge of the lane. Sometimes I wonder what it's gonna take to find dignity.